What if a team could choose one at bat in every game to send its best hitter to the plate, even if it wasn't that guy's turn to hit?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. With me, as always, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, hello.
Stacey, how are you? Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's December. This year is just flying by.
Oh, yeah, it's almost over.
It's crazy. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We passed 7,900 subscribers on Monday, which is really cool. My goal is 8,000 by Christmas. You think we can do it?
We're almost there. I'm more focused on the round numbers, so I'm looking forward to 10,000 by opening day.
Yes, that is our goal. So pass the word on to people who, like Yankee podcasts where we yap for 30 minutes and talk about everything under the sun and get them over here. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, Jack Curry debunks Randy Miller's report about the $550 million for Juan Soto. The Yankees' top 10 prospects list is released by Baseball America, so we're going to tell you all about that. But first, Monday morning, I was perusing Blue Sky because I don't do Twitter anymore, and they're working on fixing the graphics so we can fit our Blue Sky usernames in there. If you're on Blue Sky, I'm at Stace Gotts. That's my name almost everywhere if you want to find me. And I saw a post from Jason Stark of The Athletic talking about the golden rule. I'm like, what is this? And I open up the article. Of course, it's a subscription. If you're not subscribed to The Athletic, you should, because it's one of the better places to find Yankee coverage and baseball general coverage. It's called the Golden at Bat Rule. So essentially, this idea was discussed at the owners' meetings, which cracks me up because I can't imagine these guys talking about this stuff. But the concept is, what if a team could choose one at bat in every game to send its best hitter to the plate, even if it wasn't that guy's turn to hit? So that's the golden at bat concept in a nutshell. And the big example in the article was Juan Soto's home run against Cleveland. Like, what if he wasn't up in the lineup? What if it was Oswaldo Cabrera? And then Aaron Boone could say, you know what? I'm going to put Soto in this spot. And then he hits the home run anyway. Like, if it happened that way, that would be what the golden rule is.
Almost akin to a shootout in hockey where you get to put your best players up when you want to like have them perform. I think two things. I think this would be unbelievably awesome and entertaining. Like, who wouldn't enjoy extra innings to the max? But this would also never happen. Like, there's no way this could ever be passed, but it would be the coolest thing ever. It would be so cool to watch.
Right. So each team gets to pick one at bat at any point in the game, but it's only one. Mm-hmm. And, so do you save it for later in the game? What if there's a big moment earlier in the game where you could blow the game open by putting your best hitter in? Would it work in the second inning with the bases loaded to blow up the game, or would you wait until later in the game to try and win it that way?
There's a ton of strategy, right? Because if it's the seventh inning and the bases are loaded, but the bottom of the lineup's up, don't you kind of want to get Aaron Judge and have back there?
Right.
But at the same time, do you use it in the ninth inning when the game is tied? Because maybe Aaron Judge runs into one and hits a walk-off. Do you wait and use it in the 10th when there's a runner on base? Like, what do you do? Also, the only thing that kind of annoys me, and this is probably just a nerdy me thing that I would bother, is it screws up the stat books forever.
Right.
Like, the record books are just because Lou Gehrig never got a chance to bat with the bases. Like, in Lou Gehrig's 178 RBI season, when what would have been the case if every base is loaded that year they got to bat Lou Gehrig? Would he have finished with 200 RBIs? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so you don't get those kind of like, it doesn't match up really as well. So that would just bother me a little bit. But yeah.
So there's another option. Each team gets one golden at bat per game, except only in the seventh inning or later. So you can't use it early in the game. You have to use it after the seventh inning.
That makes sense. I guess why would you use it early anyway, though, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. There's Jason Stark. This is his thing that he wants. Um, Only the team that's trailing or tied in the ninth or later gets to use the golden at bat.
hmm. I mean, again, it's one of those things, though. Why would that not be the case? You know what I mean? Because like, if you're leading in the game, I guess at insurance runs, maybe, right? But like, I mean, how much? I don't hate that one actually. Now that I think of it more, I don't hate it because if you're gonna, then the game's not gonna be competitive. If you're gonna like give a team an opportunity to add on more and more and more insurance runs, you're gonna make the game non-competitive. So it's not worth it. I don't hate that rule.
And then there's this also, they said this in the article, it's pretty funny that there's this potential wrinkle. Say the Royals use their golden at bat to let Bobby Witt Jr. lead off the ninth. He makes an out, but who's batting second? Oh, it's his turn in the lineup, so he'd come up again and get a second
What if he gets double then?
I think he would be able to come up again and they'd put in a pinch runner.
They'd probably use the guy who made the last out in the last inning, right? Kind of like the
Right,
ghost
like
runner.
a ghost runner. Right.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about this is not last year, earlier this year, myself and my former producer, Steve Granado, talked about something similar, very similar to this, in an episode where we came up with rules we wish we'd see in MLB and rules that we thought were too crazy for MLB to even think of, but we came up with them anyway. And this is what Steve said, because it's pretty similar to this.
Stacey, I've talked about the free sub on this show, but it bears repeating. This is my big wild pitch to baseball to make baseball more exciting. And if you haven't heard me talk about my free sub idea, let me implore this to you. The free sub, you can put anybody in at any time, even if they're currently playing, even if they're currently on base. You want to see Aaron Judge hit back-to-back homers by himself? Have at it. The second Judge touches home, he picks his bat back up and he goes right back into the box. You could do that once per game at any time. You don't get an extra run and extra innings past the ninth, but you do get the free sub at any point. It could be someone that's been pulled from the game. As long as they're on the active roster, feel free, man. If you think you have a chance to drive, if you think that Anthony Volpe has a good chance to drive himself in after doubling, then do it. If you just saw Judge hit a homer and then 3 batters later, you're like, oh, first and second with nobody out, let's get Judge back to the plate in the scenario again.
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
I also don't hate the caveat too of, you know how sometimes when guys are in slumps, there's that opinion that, oh, well, if you give them more, like Paul O'Neill always says this, you have to like let the guy hit his way out of the slump, right? Like he has to have more and more at bats so he can hit his way out of the slump. I almost think that's a case too, where you can get a guy, like say you're losing in the ninth inning and you're down 5 runs, right? Aaron Judge comes up, strikes out. You can throw Aaron Judge back up there almost like a practice at bat just to get him some more reps to get out of the slump. But you can use it more in like a strategic way. Also, I don't hate that. It is very fascinating that there every couple of years you see these little like tool ideas of like how could you fix the game and everything like that. I just I don't think baseball would ever implore them, but I mean, who knows? I mean, if you would have mentioned to someone 10 years ago the Ghost Runner,
exactly,
they would have also said there's no way they'd ever do that. And they did it. And I'm not gonna lie, I think after year 1, the general consensus was most people didn't like the Ghost Runner. And now it feels like it's hard to find someone who really does dislike it.
I still dislike it. Dislike it. Yeah, I do. I really do.
Is it the traditionalist in you, or like what about you dislike? Because it doesn't bother me at all.
No, I don't care if a game goes 18 innings.
The idea of it bothered me when it first started, like when they first introduced it, I was like, oh, this is Tonka truck. This is dumb. And then now I don't even notice it. Like now it doesn't bother me at all. I don't really care about it because to me, you don't need the 19-inning game. Like, it didn't bother me when you had the 19-inning game, but to me, like, why did we need that anyway? It didn't do anything.
How often do they happen? And then also, it's gotten to the point now where you're seeing games still going into the 14th inning, even with the ghost runners, because some teams are so inept that they can't even score the run from second base anyway.
Yeah, but that's so. I mean, I'd love to know the percentage of games that go beyond the 12th right now.
No, I know, but that's what they're trying to stop, and that's the other thing. I don't think it should start in the 10th inning. I don't think the ghost runner should be in the 10th inning.
That I'd agree with.
I think you should play at least 1 or 2 regular extra innings, and if they can't get anything done then the 12th inning, all right, put the runner on second and try and get this game
That's
over
a change I would make, actually. That I completely agree with. I think if you started it in the 12th inning, it would make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
That one I completely agree with, because I do think it's a little like tomfoolery that in the 10th inning we're immediately starting with a ghost runner. Because it does, I think it creates a disadvantage like on both sides, the ghost runner, because the team that's batting first essentially feels like they need to get 2 runs.
It has to be 2. Yeah, in most cases.
Because if you get 1, it's useless because the other team's going to score anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also puts a tremendous amount of pressure when you do score the run on the home team, because now you have to score that run. And the team is home, you're supposed to have an advantage because you're home, and you're at a disadvantage. It is very strange. But it is worth repeating though. Like, the ghost runner is one of those things that if you told me we were going to have it a decade ago, I would have told you you're insane. And here we are. So who knows what the next 10 years show in baseball.
So don't expect to see the golden at bat tested in the minors in 2025. But according to the article, Manfred teased that it could be previewed in an all-star game, which I don't have a problem with. If you want to do that in the all-star game,
that's what it's all about, right?
Like Aaron Judge. Like Aaron Judge against Paul Skeens was such a big at bat, and then Aaron Judge just completely muffed it. Send him up again. Do that over again. Go back up. Do that over again.
Like when you're in the playground, it's like, not bad swing. Let me go again.
Yeah, basically. So there you have it. The golden at bat. Let us know in the comments what you think about this. What tweaks would you make to it? Would you give it more parameters? Different parameters than what the article mentioned? Just let us know in the comments below, because I'm curious to see what everyone says about it. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We also send out the lineups during the season. We send out any trades, roster moves, people being called up, people being DFA'd, all that stuff. So you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. So coming up next, the top 10 Yankee prospects for 2025. I love attending live events, whether it's a baseball game, a basketball game, a concert. I've been to many concerts, been to many baseball games, and I just love being in the crowd, making new memories, meeting friends. I've met people at games and concerts and stuff. It's just a great time. And with Gametime, getting the best tickets for every live event has never been easier. They've got a new feature. It's called Gametime Picks. It does all the hard work for you. So instead of searching through thousands of tickets, Gametime Picks filters out the fluff and shows you only the absolute best deals on great seats. And if that wasn't enough, they have all-in pricing. So you toggle on it. It shows you the full price up front. There's no surprises at checkout, which happens with a lot of different places. You also get seat views. So if you've never been to a venue, you can see a panoramic view from your seat in the app so you can decide exactly where you want to sit. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. And remember, every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club and you get top priority every Friday during Fan Mail Friday. The link is in the description. So it's that time of year, and it's not Juan Soto signing time. It is the time for Baseball America to release the top prospects from every team. They released the top 30 for the Yankees, but we're going to focus on the top 10 because the top 30 would take way too long to talk about, right? You need a subscription to look at the list on Baseball America, the full list. But some of the beat writers posted the top 10, which thanks, guys. And there was other info that we're going to talk about later in the segment that Baseball America included on the free page. So guess who number one is? Just take a guess.
I mean, I think most of our fans would guess Spencer Jones, but no, it's Jason Dominguez.
Yep. Jason Dominguez, outfielder Jason Dominguez. Obviously, he spent most of his season in AAA. Yankees called him up, didn't do much with him. Yeah, but he is number one. Now, I'm a little surprised about the order that these guys are in, and hopefully the beat writer got it right. Because like I said, I didn't get to see the actual list because I'm not subscribed to Baseball America. But
I think it has to do with, just before you go, because of what the order is, I do think the ranking has a lot to do with like potential and where they can be, and I think it also has to do with ETA. Like it has to do with how close they potentially are to making a major league impact on the big league club, but also how much of an impact they're expected to make once they get to the big league club. So like Jason Dominguez is number one because he's expected to be an everyday full-time player that's going to make a big impact with the major league club. Just to add that reference in so it makes a little more sense to you guys.
All right, that makes sense because looking at this list kind of surprised me because at number 2 is George Lombard Jr., infielder, mostly shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
As I said before we started recording, we were talking about how young some of these guys are. He was born June 2nd, 2005, and I think I could probably tell you what I was wearing on June 2nd, 2005. So
I might be able to tell you that too, which is even scary. I was 8 years old, which makes me feel old. You look at this list of these young guys. He only made it to Hudson Valley last year, so I don't think his impact at the major league level is going to be for probably. I'd say his ETA is probably sometime 2026 if he makes the major leagues.
Hold on, let me get it because they had some of the estimated time of arrival for some of these guys. They also had the projected lineup for 2028, which I thought was crazy because I was like,
like New York Yankees lineup?
Yeah, like I don't want to think about 2028. Yeah.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, it was really funny. They have here, wait, let's do this quickly because we have time to do this.
Yeah.
So this is the projected 2028 lineup. Just, not counting for people that they may sign, obviously.
Can I take a guess at who the guys that are in the lineup, like that are on the current team?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I guess on the current team, the guys that are still in the lineup are Aaron Judge, obviously, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, and Jason Dominguez. Is that it?
One more
on the current roster.
Mm-hmm.
Oswaldo Cabrera.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, Austin Wells is catcher, Ben Rice is first base, George Lombard Jr. second base, Oswaldo at third, Volpe at short, Dominguez in left, Spencer Jones in center, Judge in right field, and designated hitter Rafael Flores. And I think that would be turned around because Judge at that point will be 36 years old.
Yeah,
and I don't see him. I think he'd be DHing by then. And then looking at the rotation, number one starter Garrett Cole at 37 years old. So he'd be the old man of the group. Carlos Rodon would be 35. Luis Gil would be 30. Clark Schmidt would be 32. Will Warren would be 29. And then they have Ben Hess as their closer. Ben Hess we'll get to in a second because he is in that top 10.
There's no chance that if this is their payroll, if this would be like the existing would be like $100 million.
Oh yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's
you're
no
not
chance.
Counting, like I said, you're not counting for free agents. You're not counting for people leaving or being traded. Like you never know what's going to happen. But I just thought that was funny because I saw 2028 and I thought to myself, that's crazy. And then I realized, oh right, 2025 is
like what these guys are doing in the minors now and like what their ranking is in the Yankees system doesn't really mean that much to the major league club. Where it impacts the major league club is where these guys' trade value exists. So like if you have an abundance of infielders, I guess you want more infielders to be towards the top of your rankings and prospect pools because then you can afford to trade more of them and acquire more guys at the deadline. So I think this has a lot to do with potential trades than it does major league impact.
I'll quickly go through 3 through 10. So at 3, you have Roderick Arias, who's an infielder. He made it to Tampa.
Mhm.
Ben Hess, right-handed pitcher who I just mentioned, was just drafted. He played for the University of Alabama, but he was drafted in 2024. Bryce Cunningham, another right-handed pitcher, he was also just drafted. He's coming out of Vanderbilt.
Which is a
Number
baseball
6.
factory.
Yeah. Number 6, your favorite guy, Spencer Jones, who made it up to Sunset. Chase Hampton, right-handed pitcher who was also in Sunset at number 7. Will Warren is number 8. He made it up to the majors. Obviously, we watched him pitch and it wasn't that pleasurable. He was
Mhm.
mostly at AAA. You have Henry Lillane, who's a left-handed pitcher. He made it up to Tampa. And in the 10th spot, you have Rafael Flores. He's mostly catcher, first base, sometimes DH. He was mostly at Hudson Valley, but he went up to Somerset later in the year. So he played like 30 games with Hudson Valley and like 21 with Somerset.
I do know the talking point around Rafael Flores is huge. That people love him at the younger level. I mean, he's got time to develop and stuff, but people love him. I will say, Will Warren, if you look at his numbers, this goes to what the list is. Will Warren had about a 10 ERA in the major leagues last year, which wasn't great. And he didn't get a lot of starts. I think he had like 6 to 8 starts maybe, and didn't really have a lot of time to like dig his foot into the major league level. What concerns me more is he had almost 25 starts in AAA and pitched to a 6 ERA.
Yeah.
That would concern me because if you have major league experience at that point, you'd think his AAA numbers would be really, really, really solid. And he really, really struggled at the AAA level. So that would concern me a little bit.
Yeah. And then the best tools, according to Baseball America, we'll quickly go through this, but some of these names you're going to recognize if you are an everydayer and you listen or watch us all the time. So, best hitter for average, Caleb Durbin, heard his name a lot. Best
Yeah,
power
absolutely.
hitters, Spencer Jones. Best strike zone discipline, Caleb Durbin. Fastest base runner, Spencer Jones. Best athlete, Spencer Jones. Best fastball, Chase Hampton. Best slider, Will Warren. Best changeup, Luis Cerna, because there's a Jared Cerna and a Luis Cerna.
Yep.
Best control, Will Warren. Best defensive catcher, Carlos Narvaez.
They love.
Yeah, they do. Best defensive infielder, George Lombard Jr. Best infield arm, Roderick Arias. Best defensive outfielder, Spencer Jones. And best outfield arm, Jason Dominguez.
I don't know about the Jason Dominguez, one of the best outfield arm, because he's coming off Tommy John surgery. I don't know how much they're going to let him test that arm going forward. They're not going to probably let him let loose. I know Chase Hampton's fastball has been really highly regarded when it comes to the major league level. They think it's major league ready now. The Spencer Jones stuff, again, will interest me for a very long time because you're always going to hear those judge comparisons. And Stacey, if there's a bet that we can make right now for spring training that is almost as lock of a lock that exists, it's Spencer Jones is going to hit the cover off the ball in spring training. The Yankees always have a player that absolutely demolishes the ball in spring training, and then in the regular season, it's just nowhere to be found.
Didn't he hit like a 470-foot home run in spring training last year?
And he was unbelievable in spring training last year. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a quiz question. I think you'll get this one, though, so I don't think it's that tough. But can you name the player previous to Spencer Jones that was this exact same thing? That was spring training Mickey Mantle, but in the regular season just was nowhere near the player that he was in spring training. When I say it, you're going to go, oh, God, of course.
Kyle Higashioka?
Greg Bird.
Oh, yeah, him too.
Greg Bird every year would hit like 600 in spring training and then completely fall off a map once the season started. This is like every single year at Greg Bird. So, I mean, we'll see. You're going to see a lot of these guys in February. A lot of them at the home field of the Tampa Bay Rays. These guys are going to get a lot of play time. So, we'll see. I think you're going to see. I don't think we see Spencer Jones next year in the major league level. Yeah. I think again, next year is one of those things where the Yankees would have to have a terrible year for Spencer Jones to get time.
You might see him get up to AAA, but he's not going to get up to the Yankees. Unless
he definitely starts the year in Somerset, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think he might make it up to AAA at some point, but unless something catastrophic happens, it doesn't.
I think it's one of those things that you don't want to see him in Yankee Stadium. If you do, something went horribly wrong.
Yeah. Coming up next, we have some miscellaneous news, including Jack Curry saying some things on the Hot Stove Show.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all available in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Crunch time in the NFL, guys. You can start getting ready for the Thursday night game, next week's Sunday games, and also the college football conference championships that are going to mean a lot for rankings. Those are coming up over the weekend. So you can get ready and get all the lines available on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, Stacey, a hot stove episode that premiered yesterday, I guess later Monday, right? It was around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that. The Yankees, it was Jack Curry that really broke a lot of news and really led a lot of the conversation in this hot stove show. I think a lot of people were looking forward to his opinions on stuff. You haven't heard from him other than really Twitter throughout the offseason. And they broke down a lot of interesting stuff from the Yankees. And I think the biggest thing that I want to get to before we get into other news is the Soto stuff. Let's just do our daily Soto coverage that we have to do every single. I feel like we're now contractually obligated in our contracts to talk about Juan Soto on a daily at this point. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it feels like that. At least every day. Maybe not segment 1, but at least at some point during the show, we have to talk about Juan Soto.
So it was basically reported in layman's terms, Jack Curry said that the Yankees not willing to go over 550 is the biggest load of BS you've ever seen in your life. And we basically told you that on yesterday's episode, and I couldn't agree with you more. By the way, yesterday's episode, I do want to mention, for a Monday morning in the offseason when absolutely nothing is going on, it really came out and gave us a lot of views in that episode last night. So I really want to just clap it up for the fans of Locked On Yankees right there. You guys really showed up.
Yeah, when I saw the
news time.
When I saw the numbers, I was like, is that right? What is happening? Yeah, and I put it up later than I normally do. I think we're going to do this now. I like the 6 o'clock in the morning thing for the off season because it's right. Like if you're getting ready for work and you want to listen, you can listen. Or if you're on your way to work, if you're one of those people who still actually has to go to a job, you can listen to us on the way to work kind of thing. So yeah, thank you for that because I was shocked by those numbers. Like, well done you.
And we sat there and said, as much of BS as we kind of thought it was, because it felt disingenuous, that the report, and it felt like we said, if they're actually serious about the Juan Soto stuff and they've given you no indication to believe they're not serious about it, how could their number fall at 550? It made no sense to us. It didn't add up, and you look at it now, it wasn't true. There wasn't any truth to it, and I think when it comes to Yankees news, when a reporter as reputable as Jack Curry comes out and gives you that information that basically telling you it's not true,
that's who you should
pretty
be paying
safe to believe it.
Yeah. National wise, you pay attention to Jeff Passan. On the local level, don't pay attention to anyone else really. When it comes to inside news, than Jack Curry. I mean, does anyone else remember the day that he broke the news that Andy Pettitte was coming back? And everyone was like, wait, what? I actually tweeted, because God, that was so long ago. I tweeted, I said, well, it's too early for April Fools. So what is happening? It's like, did someone hack him? What do you mean Andy Pettitte's coming back? And sure enough, he had the news first. So yeah, don't trust. No offense to Randy Miller, but he also doubled down and was talking about how the Yankees and Mets really need to worry about the Red Sox. I'm like, you think the Red Sox are going to outbid Steve Cohen, Randy Miller? Yeah. Stop it. Like, this is all just for clicks. It's all for making everyone crazy, Yankees and Mets fans alike. And I don't like this time of year, especially now when it comes to clickbait. I feel like clickbait kind of tailed off a bit and it wasn't as bad. And for some reason, this offseason, it seems so much worse.
Well, we've seen multiple reports come out on on Twitter, on Instagram. You see a lot of them come out where it basically says Juan Soto's a Met. It's over. Other teams don't even bother putting your bids in. Don't worry about it. I've seen reports that have that of the Dodgers, reports that have that with the Red Sox. Now the last week, the flavor of the week is the Red Sox. That it's basically over. Don't even bother bidding.
Yeah, it was
the Red Sox.
It was the Blue Jays first, then it was the Red Sox. It'll be something else. Yeah.
Because he had a conversation with Rafael Devers on the phone. That means he's a Red Sox. The same.
But now they're even saying that didn't happen. So it's like,
yeah, you remember when Peyton Manning was a free agent that offseason, and he was basically a Dolphin because he owned a home in Miami. And they were like, oh, he's a Dolphin. He owns a home in Miami, so he's going to sign there, obviously. So it's really hard to – you don't know what's in these athletes' heads. Juan Soto might not even have a decision yet. Honestly, he might not even know where he's going at this point yet. So you don't really know. I do agree with you. I think the Red Sox more – I said this at the beginning of the offseason, that if Juan Soto was going to be a Yankee, I don't think they're going to be the highest bidder. I still don't think they're going to be the highest bidder. I think if Juan Soto is going to be a Yankee, he has to choose the Yankees over the Mets. And I think the Yankees will come in. That's not me saying the Yankees won't come close to the Met offer. I think they'll be tremendously close to the Met offer. I just think they'll be slightly behind the Met offer. And I think Juan Soto is going to have to choose to be a Yankee. Now, does the financials mean that much at this point when the money is as crazy as it is? I don't think so. I think that it's not going to take much to choose, because when you get to the hundreds of millions of dollars, the difference of $2.5 million, I don't think is going to mean that much. But I think regardless, the Mets are going to be the highest offer, and he's going to have to choose the Yankees over the Mets when it comes to money.
Yeah.
I will say this for sure. And that's not me saying the Yankees for sure won't be the highest bidder. I just think the Mets will be the highest bidder.
Yeah.
I will say this for sure. There is no chance the Boston Red Sox are going to be the highest bidder. Right. There is no chance the Red Sox will be. So
they might be in on it, but I don't think they'll be higher than the Mets.
I think they're in on it because I think John Henry for sure is feeling the pressure from his fan base to go out there and sign someone and be competitive, because they'll deal with the year or two of playing bad baseball. The Red Sox fans don't really put up with 5 years of bad baseball, and they're petering towards that. I will say this, though. They are not going to be the highest bidder. I am confident they're not going to be the highest bidder. I'm also confident, like I said yesterday, that the Red Sox are not going to provide the support around Juan Soto that he's going to need to be a consistent winner, and I think that does matter to him a little bit. So I will say this for sure. When it came to my Yankee point, it means more when it comes to the Red Sox. The Red Sox will have to be the team that he chooses, specifically chooses. He will have to want to be a Boston Red Sox for him to be on the Red Sox. That is the only way. They are not going to outbid everybody else. They're certainly not going to impress him more than everybody else when it comes to facilities and stuff, because the Red Sox have the most, they've upgraded Fenway Park to what they can do over the years. But when it comes to facilities, the Mets certainly have better facilities. The Yankees certainly have better facilities. Toronto Blue Jays just put $1 billion into the Rogers Center. So, the Phillies have a tremendous facility in Citizens Bank Park. Every team that's bidding on Juan Soto has better facilities than the Boston Red Sox. So it's not that. It's not going to be financially. It's not going to be the best chance to win because the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Yankees and the Mets are all involved. The Red Sox, to me, and I'm not saying this as a Yankee fan, the Red Sox have the least intriguing offer to Juan Soto. The only thing that's intriguing to him is finances. And are they going to outbid everybody else? I highly, highly, highly doubt that. I would still, if I was ranking it, I would still give the Red Sox the worst odds to sign him. I really would. I don't think their odds are that good. I think they're going to have to completely blow him out of the water because Stacey, we went over this before of, what certain teams have over other teams when it comes to the Juan Soto sweepstakes, right? The Mets have this, seemingly infinity level pocketbook that goes deeper and deeper and deeper than you've ever seen before. The Yankees have the pedigree and what it means to be a Hall of Famer playing for the Yankees, right? The Dodgers have this stacked lineup with all this talent around him. There's, all these teams have a different thing that is there that entices him. What do the Red Sox have? Is it just playing with Rafael Devers? Well, congratulations. You get, Francisco Lindor or Mookie Betts or Aaron Judge. There's plenty of great players you can go play with. So it's not Rafael Devers. What is the thing the Red Sox have that he can't get anywhere else times 10? I just don't know.
Good point. We have so much time left, meaning before he makes a decision.
Well, this report came out today. I don't know how reputable the source is, but they're expecting his answer to be within 10 days.
What was the source? Where'd you see it?
I believe I meant to send it to you earlier, and then I didn't because we were discussing something else. It was there was a bunch of stuff online about it. So when I see multiple reports under one thing, I tend to believe it a little more because if it's one place, it's probably not true. Stand by 1 second. Let me go find out my phone real quick. Stall for a bit if you can.
While Brian is looking, Kyle Higashioka signed with the Texas Rangers. So good for him. He will probably be their backup catcher like he usually is people's backup catchers. And he's a very serviceable backup catcher that has pop in his bat. And Locked On Rangers host Bryce was actually very excited about Higashioka because he was the guy that he had his eye on as backup catcher, and he wanted the Rangers to get him. So good for Higgy. Get that money. It's not like a big contract, but so now he's with the Rangers, and we'll see Higgy more because the Yankees play the Rangers more than they would play, say, the Padres.
Yeah, so sad that he'll be gone though. He played with the Padres last year. I know I'm a big rock fan, so he wound up developing a relationship with Tom DeLonge of Blink-182, who's a huge Padres fan.
Right.
And Higashioka plays guitar. So it was a big thing between the two of them. I think Tom DeLonge gifted him the original guitar that he played on the All the Small Things music video, which is really cool. So that was a really cool news source. What came out of earlier today, it wound up being picked up the way I got to it is it wound up getting picked up by SNY and it wound up getting picked up by CBS Sports News. The original report came from a website with not as many views, but when reputable sources like that pick it up, I tend to get a little more belief out of it. They're expecting a signing within 10 days. That's basically the gist of the report. So,
but that makes sense because the winter meetings are next week, and
I'll take it though. But compared to the Harper and Machado stuff that year, yeah. I'll take 10 days because I want Juan Soto. Don't get me wrong. Really want him to be a Yankee player. I just kind of also want the offseason to move on a little bit.
Understandable. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, you can find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball and history because he's like an encyclopedia. He'll keep you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason while talking about some random baseball player from the 70s because that's how his brain works. So find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you tomorrow.